What's going on, guys? K-Pioneer and welcome back. And in this video, I'll be bringing you some more Open Ultra League action featuring Alolan Muck. I feel that in recent times, Alolan Muck has kind of gotten overlooked for other top meta Pokemon or other dark poisons like Skuntank and Drapion. But with that combination of Poison Jab and Acid Spray, it can provide a fast move beatdown that those other dark poisons can't. And the best part, it's a non-XL mod. Regarding this overall team, I actually used it during last season's Open Ultra League, and it was okay. Not great, but okay. So I was playing around with some teams this season, and then I decided, hey, you know what? Let me give this one another try. With the buff to Clefable leading to an increase in fairy types and its counters, this team could potentially do really well, and let me tell you, it did. The first day I ran this team, I went 19-11, and the second day, I went 17-8, where I'll be showing you a 9-1 run I had. Now, it functions in an ABB style where the A-Muck is a safe switch against a fairy type lead or to bait out those steel and ground types that the Zard doesn't want to see, such as G-Fisk, Swampert, U-Fisk. The only times you'll really want to be safe swapping the Zard is against a Tapu Fini lead, as the Zard actually has a better matchup here compared to the Goon. And you'll also want to safe swap into the Zard against a Cobalion lead, where you'll then be playing the bait game. But this team with the Obstagoon lead and the A-Muck behind it is very often able to be ABA strong against your opponent's team, which is a very advantageous feature to have. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this team does have a big learning curve, but once you're able to get it down, it can do very, very well. And with that, let's get right into the battles. Alright, getting to the first battle, we lead Obstagoon into Shadow Steelix. Our opponent's going to safe swap into a Trevenant, and if you'll notice, our entire team absolutely destroys Trevenant. So I could stand with the Obstagoon just because of that, but the better option is not to, because we want that Obstagoon for the Steelix. Now, if somebody's safe swapping a Trevenant, they're most likely trying to bait out a Charizard, so their back Pokemon doesn't have to see the Charizard. So that's why I come in with the Alolan Muck here, as it's perfectly able to take care of the Trevenant while we still save the Zard for the back. Now in comes the Shadow Steelix. They're going for the farm down, but they're gonna have to eat a second Dark Pulse in order to do so. Those Poison Jabs weren't doing that much to the Steelix, but the two Dark Pulses were able to bring it into the red, as we can now bring in our Obstagoon. And even if this one is running Earthquake, which they are, Obstagoon's tanky. It's able to hold on to that no problem. There's the Vrizzing in the back, and our opponent concedes the match. GG's. Next battle, we lead Goon into Shadow Swampert. This is perfect. This is exactly where we want to see the Swampert on the team, so we're just going to stay in and spam out these Night Slashes. Now, this matchup does play out differently depending if it's a regular Swampert and a Shadow Swampert. But regardless, you're going to want to play this out in the zero shield scenario. If it's a regular Swampert, they will have to throw a Hydro Cannon and an Earthquake to take you out. If they go for two Hydro Cannons, you can actually get a shield off your opponent if they want to take switch. And now if it's a Shadow Swampert, generally two Hydro Cannons is enough to take out Obstagoon. But my Obstagoon is a rank 1, and that way it can actually tank two Hydro Cannons. But either way, against the regular Swampert or the Shadow Swampert, if they go straight Hydro Cannon, if they throw an EQ, if you have the rank 1, if you don't have the rank 1, doesn't matter. You're going to want to play out the zero shield and then bring in your Charizard afterwards. And you're going to want to commit to the wing attack down for energy. You may have to give up a shield once. If they allow you to throw on the CMP tie, then by all means throw on the CMP tie. But if they throw before you get to the Dragon Claw, you'll give up a shield and then farm all the way down. As if they have a Swampert on the lead, their back line is most likely very weak to Charizard, and that energy will go a long way. But regardless, in this battle, we're able to take out the Shadow Machamp. They have their own Alolan Muck in the back, Man of Culture, except they're running Snarl on theirs, and because they are running Snarl, I'm just going to be able to win this matchup because of the pure fast move beatdown. We can just fire off Acid Spray after Acid Spray and just Poison Jab this Alolan Muck all the way down. We have a shield still. We aren't even going to need to use it. I do right here just to respect a move, which ends up being a gunk shot, but either way, we are in a good position, as once we throw that Acid Spray, we can now do this Dark Pulse, which brings it deep into the red, and we're able to farm down the Alolan Muck for a good game. GG's to my opponent. Next battle, we lead Obstagoon into Skuntank. Now, pretty neutral matchup as they were both hitting for neutral fast moves and neutral charge moves. So again, we are going to play this out in the Zero Shield and just start spamming off these cross chops. Opponent Skuntank is running Flamethrower. We're able to hold on to that and get to this next cross chop before they reach their next move. And like I said, I'm perfectly fine letting this go and just wing attacking down with Charizard and getting an energy lead. But my opponent goes for the crunch. We're able to hang on. Again, rank 1 Goon coming in clutch there. And now we get switch advantage, able to see what it is, and it is a Shadow Snorlax. So we bring in our Alolan Muck, which again, ABA strong against our opponent's team to some sense, as we are resisting these licks. And now we're going to start spamming off these Dark Pulses against the Shadow Lax, and it does get their shield, so potentially they're weak to the Amok in the back as well. So Amok is going to put in a lot of work here. They are going to fire off the Body Slam right before I get to the next Dark Pulse, which I am going to let go. Amok's able to hang on, fire off this next Dark Pulse, which does get their final shield, and now I'm going to bring Shadow Charizard, not Shadow, regular Charizard, up 2 shields to just completely take out the rest of my opponent's team. Now they do have a Giratina in the back, so if they are running Ancient Power, it could get a little tricky. But we're just going to start spamming off these Dragon Claws. Next one on the CMP tie. And this is enough for the Ancient Power, so I will give up a shield here just in case. And they go for a Dragon Claw. So either they're running Shadow Sneak or they just baited me. If they just baited me, I could potentially be in some trouble here. But no, they're running Shadow Sneak instead. So I can load up energy, throw on the next CMP tie to take out the Giratina. Back in comes the Snorlax. We're able to breach the Blast Burn, which will be more than enough to take it out for a good game. GG's to my opponent. And I am going to reiterate this again. If your Obstagoon isn't the rank 1 like mine, so it doesn't survive those last 2 moves with 1 HP and a Dream, as you saw in the previous matches, that is perfectly fine. Because with this team, switch advantage or an energy advantage on your Zard are both very good options. And now in this next match against the Registeel Lead, boy, I hate these. Because are they going to go for the Focus Blast or a Zap Cannon bait? This one goes for the Focus Blast. Down goes Obstagoon, and now we're going to bring in our Charizard, which will outpace to this Blast Burn. That Registeel Lead scenario is always a tough one. I mean, they do tend to go for Focus Blast more often than not. But those times where you do end up shielding the Zap Cannon, it just feels really bad. So I've just decided to just call it and let Charizard put in the work as normal. So now in comes in an XL Knockdown. We are able to land that Blast Burn. I will give up a shield here because I know from this range, a Dragon Claw should just about be enough to KO the Knockdown. And they'll have to give up a shield if they want to keep it around, which they don't. They have a Shadow Machamp in the back, and now this game's over because I can just Acid Spray and win this match from pure fast move beatdown. Cross Chop lands on the Amok. Acid Spray is going to be fired off in return, and my opponent has 2 shields. Feels bad for them to have to shield an Acid Spray, but unfortunately, they're going to have to. As now, I can just comfortably shield this, even if it is a Cross Chop bait. They're not going to reach enough, have enough energy to reach a Rock Slide, but they full send a Payback, and we're able to take that one. GG's. Next battle, we lead Obstagoon into Walrein. Another good lead for us. See what my opponent wants to do, and they're staying in, so it appears that they are core broken by the Goon. As I'm sure y'all know by now, the Goon is very good at doing. Cross Chop #1 is able to land, and I'm just going to let this go. I'm going to use no shields on my Obstagoon. as we are easily able to tank that Icicle Spear. I overfarm here, knowing that I will most likely lose CMP tied to the Walrein. And I'm going to throw this Cross Chop right before they get to their next Icicle Spear. This will take out the Walrein unless they want to give up a shield, of which then if they do give up a shield, I will probably match shields and then just farm down. But now in comes a Shadow Swampert, so we're going to have to stay in this matchup and just spam off these Night Slashes. Fortunately for us, my opponent can't really Mudshot down, so I can easily give up this shield right here. Land this Night Slash, another Night Slash against the Swampert, and my opponent is now going to have to land another Hydro Cannon on us. Otherwise, we'll reach another move. But we get the boost, and that extremely helps us as that counter damage brings the Swampert into a range where our Amok could farm down. And again, my opponent, expecting something like a Jelly in the back, being ABA weak to the Goon with a Walrein Lead, our Amok is able to shut this Jelly down and have no problems in this match, as they're going to have to land 3, potentially even 4 Surfs here, as it's looking like 3 Surfs may not be enough. Maybe the Hexes after the 3rd Surf could do it, but we are just fine. I will give up a shield here though, because I know I will outpace to this next Dark Pulse before they reach their 4th Surf. So this Dark Pulse will be enough to take out the Jelly or bring it down super low. Not enough to take it out, as Jelly is very bulky. But with that Dark Pulse land, the game is solidified for us and we're able to take it. And that is a 5-0 set. So we go up to 25-43. Now hopping into the next set, we lead Obstagoon into Giratina, another fantastic lead for us if they're running Shadow Claw. If they're running Dragon Breath, it's a pretty neutral lead, but my opponent safe swaps a Scrafty, and we have our Charizard here to meet it. I do let the first one go just because I don't want to shield a foul play, and now my opponent can take Switch if they want, if they want to bring it to the 2 shield scenario. But again, that's fine. I don't need Switch because I have the Amok for the Giratina. I will give up 1 shield here just to force my opponent to have to go down both shields if they want Switch advantage. Which they don't. They let it go, and I have a Dragon Claw loaded to get some extra chip against this Giratina. Giratina farms down the Zard, and now we bring in our Obstagoon. There's the Clefable, and our Amok is going to absolutely destroy this Clefable. Amok, as always, being good at spamming off those poison jabs and acid sprays. And look at those poison jabs go. Clefable's health is being absolutely deleted. As they reach another Meteor Mash, Amok's able to hang on, farm down, leave with the Dark Pulse stored. This Amok just putting in so much work this game. Gets the final shield from the Giratina, but we still have a full health Goon with a shield, might I add, so this game is long over. Night Slash lands. Our opponent's still playing it out. Perhaps they're running Ancient Power, looking for the boost. But no, they're just going for Dragon Claws. And now they realize that this game is over. And they can see GG's. Next battle, we lead Obstagoon into Alolan Sandslash. This is the dream lead for us. Our opponent's going to switch into a Haxorus. I don't have a fantastic response here. I could go into my Zard right away, which may have been the right play here, but it's because we have the super effective Dragon Claws, but I didn't want those breaking swipes to add up, stab breaking swipes, so and potentially have to give up a shield. So I go for Cross Chop Chip first and then bring into my Amok to guarantee that I'm able to keep switch advantage here, which I am able to farm down. My opponent's going to bring back in the A-Slash, looking for the Shadow Claw farm down, but not until in time for us to reach another Dark Pulse. We are quite debuffed at that point, so it doesn't do much, but that's okay. We're going to wait out our clock since we did stay in for a little bit. And our opponent's going to bring in Gliscopod. And I may think this match is over. flying type against a bug type, right? But Gliscopod did get access to liquidation. So this is actually all going to come down to a bait game, of which my opponent is successfully able to do on the first one. So we're going to return the favor. One good bait deserves another. As we do get the Dragon Claw bait, we go for another bait here as well. And we're successfully able to get this one. And now I have a very big call here. Ice Shield, and it's another X-Scissor bait. So now my opponent is able to outpace to the liquidation, which does take out my Charizard. And now in comes my Obstagoon. My opponent right here combo plays with their A-Slash, and this opens up a potential win con for me, as I just need to make sure I leave with a move to threaten the Gliscopod and hope that that Night Slash I leave with is going to be enough to take it out. They go for a Joe Run here. I'm going to undercharge this Night Slash, hopefully to get the boost, but I don't. But I am going to leave with a move. So is this move going to be enough to take out the Gliscopod? It's going to be very close. Night Slash comes through. Gliscopod just barely hangs on, and we get the unnecessary boost at the end. Down goes Goon, and that is a good game. GG's to my opponent. Next battle, we lead Obstagoon against Swampert. Again, exactly where we want to see this. You saw it play out with the Shadow Swampert earlier. Now you get to see it play out with the regular Swampert. Just like last time, we're going straight for these Night Slashes. Even if they catch, that's fine, because our back two Mons have very good coverage against the meta. They farm up a ton of energy. Like I said, we play this out in the zeros. We're going to let the Hydro Cannon go. Goon tanks that, no issue. Firing off another Night Slash. And that actually does get a shield. Regular Swampert can tank the second Night Slash as well, but this one's playing it cautiously, but not cautiously enough. As you'll see, they go for the Hydro Cannon, which forces them to go for a third here. If they went for the Earthquake, it would have taken out the Goon, but since they go for the double Hydro Cannon, they're going to have to waste even more energy. And now, like I said, I'm going to come in the Charizard, commit to a wing attack down by shielding once. If it gets to a point where I would have to shield twice, I would just throw that Dragon Claw on the CMP tie. But my opponent hard swaps out into a Walrein, and you see a Swampert on the lead, a Walrein behind it. It's going to be a Trevenant in the back. It's a very common team, and if that's the case, I should have this matchup won. As we do go for the Blast Burn, we didn't bait, we're up a shield, no need to bait. And back in comes that Swampert, so it's looking more and more likely it is that Trevenant in the back. We will give up our shield here to the Hydro Cannon. And I'm going for the farm down. I miscount, and the Swampert does reach another Hydro Cannon. I should have thrown that Dragon Claw so I didn't have to give up my final shield. But fortunately for us, it is that Trevenant in the back as we get to the back-to-back Blast Burns. First one to get the shield and the second one to take it out, or opponent calls the bait, which is a good play by them. But unfortunately for us, we didn't bait, so we're able to take that one. GG's. Next battle, another good lead for the Obstagoon against the Shadow Walrein, and this one's staying in, opponent core breaking by the Goon again. Last time was a regular Walrein, this time's a Shadow Walrein, and Shadow Walrein, you can tank 2 Icicle Spears as well. First one lands, we're going to fire off this Cross Chop in return. And now we're going to let this Icicle Spear go and commit to a counter down and leave with a ton of energy. But our opponent's going to hard swap into a Shadow Charizard. And on a Charizard safe swap, like right off the bat in the start of a match, if your opponent safe swaps into a Charizard, or later on as you'll see here, you are always going to want to counter it, swap it with your Amok. And you can build up and go for the Dark Pulse, or you can bait the Acid Spray. It tends to be a very safe bait, but those times that they do call it does feel kind of bad. Fortunately for us, we are able to successfully bait the Acid Spray as we do get to another one, which does bring the Charizard low. We're not able to take him out before they reach another move. That is perfectly fine with us as they are down shield, so we can bring our own Charizard to get an energy advantage, but they hard swap back into the Walrein. We get the perfect farm down, and our opponent concedes the match. So most likely something like a Trevenant in the back as well, or a Giratina that Charizard can deal with. And now our opponent, Snorlax on the lead, safe swap into a Giratina Origin. Now, Giratina Origin safe swap is almost always going to have a Dragon Pulse with it, but we can tank that no problem, as you'll see this first Dragon Pulse come through, and the second one. Oh, might I mention again, opponent core broken by the Goon. Seems to be a common trend we're seeing now, and we get the boost. So this is actually going to allow us to counter down all the way. Normally, I would have let this go, but since we have the boost, I might as well shield there and leave with a ton of energy. See what my opponent wants to do, and they bring in a Scrafty. So I'm boosted, and I have alignment, so I'm just going to stay in and spam off these cross chops. That does so much damage, and so will this second one. And I'm going to stay in because I can align my Zard to the Scrafty and my Amok to their Snorlax. So now I'm going to bring in my Charizard here, and I'm just going to save my shields for the end game. No need to use it yet, especially if I am to potentially get baited. And now in comes the Snorlax. I'm going to throw this first Blast Burn on the CMP tie to their Body Slam to give me the option to let this go if I wanted to. But I see, hey, you know what? I can outpace to my next Blast Burn before they reach their next Body Slam. So, hey, why not? So I'm going to throw this Blast Burn. Right as I outpace, this will be enough. Not quite enough to take out the Snorlax, but we're able to swap into our Amok to get an energy lead. Easily tanks that superpower. And now we're just need to reach the Dark Pulse against the Scrafty, which we easily do. This will be more than enough to take it out as we take that one to GG's to my opponent. Well played. And that actually ended up being the final match in the set, as you'll see, a 4-1 completing the 9-1 run. This team, along with Alolan Muck, is a fun one to run and has the ability to do well, which if you ask me, is a good combination to have. I will let you know again that this team does have a little bit of a learning curve, so if you want to run it, try not to get discouraged, as it does have a big payoff. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate you. If you enjoyed it, please drop a like, subscribe, and comment down below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. And with that, I'll catch you in the next one.